Hi and welcome to Ease Genetics. This video topic is pedigree, introduction and basics. In this video, we will see how to draw a pedigree, what symbols are used, how to show the relationships between individuals and generations, and how to show the phenotype of a certain trait in a pedigree. Pedigree analysis is important for identifying inheritance patterns, disease diagnosis and risk assessment, genetic counseling, tracking mutations in families, population genetics, breeding programs, and research programs. So as it's a very important concept in genetics, we must know how to draw or read it. In a pedigree, a male is shown with a square and a female with a circle. A horizontal line between a square and a circle, shown in green, is a cross or mating, or in the case of human, marriage. To show the offspring or child or children, a vertical line will come down from the horizontal line, shown in dark red. If there is only one offspring, the horizontal line will end up in a square or circle depending on its sexuality. But if there is more than one offspring or child, we make branches with the horizontal line from the vertical line. And due to the number of offspring, which in this case is 2 children, we branch it. In pedigrees, we need to identify each individual. Let's take this completely imaginary family and call them the Smith family, and see how can we show each individual to be recognized. First, we give each generation a number which is usually in Roman numerics mentioned on the left side of the pedigree. So from the top, the first row of generation will be I. The second row will be the second generation shown with II, the third row with III, and so on. So this pedigree includes 3 generations. Second, we have to give each individual a number. In each generation, regardless of their relationship, starting from left to right, we give each individual a number, starting with 1 till the end of the row of that generation. So generation I has 2 individuals. Generation II, restarting from 1, has 4 individuals. And the third generation, again restarting from 1, has 5 individuals. For example, individual II2 is a female, mother of 2, and individual III4 is the second child, a boy, son of individual II3, the father, and II4, the mother. And one thing more, we somehow indicate the age of the offspring by starting from left to right. So from the left, we start with the first child, and to the right, we mention the next offspring or child by their age order, and the youngest will be the last on the right. So the boy III4, third generation, individual 4, has an elder and younger sister, and he is the middle child. So with the combination of the generation and individual number, we can identify each individual in a pedigree. There are other symbols used in a pedigree. Starting from the left top, a rhombus is used when an individual's sexuality is undesignated. For some reason, we have no information about whether it's a male or a female. Under it, we have a symbol of a male and female that are half white and half black. This type of showing an individual indicates that they are carriers, which means they are heterozygous. Under it, you see a male and female, each in a bracket, indicating that they were adopted, so they have no genetic relation to the parents mentioned in the pedigree, and their biological parents must be considered for their genetic analysis. At the bottom left, you see individuals may be pointed with an arrow from the bottom left, indicating a patient initiating a genetic workup. This symbol is used for medical purposes. On the right, starting from the top, these symbols that are cut for the next generation and end from a mating or individual indicate that there is no next generation of offspring. Under it, we see a mating between a male and a female, but with two parallel horizontal lines. This means that these two have a family relationship, either close or far, and it might even be traced in the pedigree. Under it, we see a symbol of siblings with a number mentioned in each. Some pedigrees might include many individuals, and mentioning all may make it cramped and messy. To avoid this, we can compact some parts of the pedigree that we think have less information to our study, yet we want to mention them. So, for example, in this case, we have two parents with 5 children, 2 boys and 3 girls, and we just want to mention them. So instead of drawing 5 symbols for the children, we just draw 1 square for the boys and write number 2 in it, and a circle writing number 3 in it for the girls, and the last symbol shows 2 lines that pass each other with no connection. So wherever you see it, you have to follow the route and not change the course. Let's see some more symbols used in pedigrees in action. A pedigree is kind of a generation map, and just like any map that has some instructions or guidance or symbol explanation, a pedigree also has one. Some mention it at the bottom, some at the right, or somewhere around the pedigree, just like a map. Here, as an example, I mention it at the bottom just for an example. On the right, you see the meaning of the symbols I use in this pedigree, and they are not a part of the guidance, so don't get it wrong with the pedigree explanation. So at the bottom, a square is mentioned as indicating males and a circle indicating females. Now here we have a 4-generation pedigree with some symbols to show. And also keep in mind that this pedigree can be for humans, animals, or plants. First, I will explain the symbols used in this pedigree and then review it in total. To show death in a pedigree, we use a slash on the individual, just as you see for individual I2. First generation individual 2. In generation II, second generation, individuals number 3 and 4 are twins. To show it, we split a single branch of offspring into 2 branches. As they are dizygotic twins, their sexuality can either be the same or different. And as you see, the girl number 4 has a daughter directly mentioned with a vertical line. If a pedigree includes many individuals, we skip mentioning strangers that could be of less information, like here, not mentioning her husband. Individual II5 shows an abortion. Abortion is mentioned with a small black circle. So the mother I2 who passed away had an abortion on her 3rd pregnancy. Still, in the 2nd generation, individuals 6 and 7 were married but got divorced or separated, and we show it with 2 slashes on the horizontal line that is between them. Also, you see that individual II7 mated or married again with number 8, so he had a 2nd marriage. In the 3rd generation, we see individual 2 having a daughter, also without mentioning his wife, as I explained for individual II4. In this case, the mother could be valuable due to the sex-linked trait, but here I just want to show the symbols and their meanings. In the 3rd generation, III, individuals 6 and 7 are identical twins, meaning they are monozygotic twins. It's shown as twins, but also adding a horizontal line between them. In the 4th generation, individual 1, so it will be IV1, shows a sex-linked carrier. It is usually for females, so it's a circle, and a small filled circle is mentioned in the middle of it. This means she has a normal phenotype but carries the recessive allele. This symbol is just used for females where sex determination is male heterogamete. The male produces two types of gametes based on sex chromosomes. Finally, in the fourth generation, the symbol used for number 2 indicates pregnancy. This means we expect a child in the future, and at the moment we don't know its sexuality. And keep in mind that here the sonography result is not a piece of information. We have to wait until birth, and then, due to its sexuality, we can change the symbol to a square or a circle. So let's have a review of this pedigree, suggesting that this is a human pedigree. From the top, the first generation, a man and a woman got married, and the wife passed away. They have 4 children. The first II1 is a boy, married and has 2 boys. And his second son, generation III number 2, is married and has a girl, carrier for a sex-linked trait. Back to the top, their second and third children are twins, II3 and 4, a boy and a girl. And the girl has a daughter. After that, the mother had an abortion. And after that, they have a girl who married and has 3 children. 1 boy, III5, and after that, the identical twins, III6 and 7, that are girls. She got divorced, we are talking about II6, and her husband remarried and has a boy, III8, with his second wife. So this boy, III8, is individuals III5, 6, and 7 stepbrother. And individuals II4 and 5 are expecting a baby. And to wrap it up, individuals II2, II7, II8, and III4 are all strangers in this pedigree because there is no line coming down to them. But if you have a paper large enough, their family can also be added to this pedigree. I didn't have enough space to mix things up, but it's possible as long as your paper size allows. Now that we know how to look at a pedigree and understand the symbols and relationships of the generations and individuals, we can include a genetic trait in the pedigree. So why do we do this, and how do we do this? The why we do this is that usually we only have the individual's phenotypes by our observations at the beginning, and we can show it in the pedigree. And by analyzing the relationships, we try to get to their genotype. Now, how to show a phenotype in a pedigree is up to the person who is preparing it. It's a kind of personal discrimination or taste. So first, let's see how we can mention a trait in a pedigree. Let's start with a simple one. Let's say this is a pedigree of coat color in guinea pig. The trait has 2 phenotypes, black and white. Now I prefer to show the black guinea pigs in black and the whites in white. So as you see at the bottom left, I gave an instruction or guidance for this pedigree that how I am showing the phenotypes. Easy and simple. But maybe you like to show it in colors like this and make it a little fancy. No problem. As long as you mention the instructions or guidance as shown at the bottom left, you can draw the pedigree like this. Here you see an example of a trait with incomplete dominance for the alleles. Again, as simple as possible, I chose red color for red flowers, pink for pink flowers, and white for white flowers. You might say, what if colored pencils were not available at the moment? Again, no problem. Just use different types of patterns for each phenotype, but never forget to give the instructions or guidance just as I did here. And of course, you will never run out of patterns, I guarantee. So as you see, whoever wants to draw a pedigree is free to apply his or her taste. Let's get back to our Smith family, and by considering the ABO blood type groups, I will show you how I showed their phenotypes in the pedigree. So instead of their photo, I inserted the patterns I chose for each blood type group, which are Group A, Group B, Group AB, and Group O. These are the phenotypes, and I gave each a pattern. Here on the top right, I chose 4 patterns and gave the instruction on what pattern I am using for each blood group. To make it easier, I mentioned the blood group of each individual under its symbol so you can get a better view. So individuals I1 and III4 have an AB blood type, and individuals I2, II2, and III1 have an O blood type. Individuals II3 and III3 have B type, and individuals II1, II4, III2, and III5 have an A-type blood group. And we're done with it. In my next video, Pedigrees, Genotype Determination, we will see how to determine the genotypes of each individual in a pedigree. If you found this video helpful, give it a like, share it with your friends, and subscribe to Ease Genetics for more engaging content. Have questions or topics you'd like me to cover? Drop them in the comments below.